Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Reminiscences with Dr. Maryam Dija Ogebe. Our guest, according to her biographer, is an unsung hero who is actually the first female medical doctor from northern Nigeria. She studied in the University of Lagos College of Medicine, where she graduated in 1971, and then specialized in anesthetics, meaning that she is a consultant anesthetician, I think it is called. She has worked in many hospitals in Plateau and Benue State, rising to the chief consultant anesthetics in General Hospital Makadi by 1983. And in addition to that, she worked in medical administration as the Chief Executive Secretary of the Benue State Health Management Board between 1987 and 1991, from where she retired from public service. She has continued to work as a consultant in many private and public hospitals after that, and then in many voluntary and charity organizations, both in Nigeria and abroad. We are lucky that today, January 21, 2026, also happens to be her birthday. So, happy birthday, Doctor.
Thank you.
And welcome to Reminiscences. We all know the difficulty, possibly the first medical doctor female medical doctor in northern Nigeria. That's a challenge for, when one looks at how to achieve that. So what are the challenges you face in your education? I know you started in Jos. So what are the challenges given in that period for you to even begin this road of becoming a medical doctor?
Thank you very much. Yes, retrospectively, one can now look at difficulties and challenges. But at the time this was going on, I had no idea what I was going to become. All I knew was that my parents sent me to school and I enjoyed going to school and I wanted to go and I went. The challenges were big. First, there was no school at all, no primary school or nursery school in Tilden Fulani where I grew up. I was born in Shere, at the bottom of the hills of the tall Shere Mountains, and then my parents moved to Tilden Fulani to reside there, to farm, and my dad was a marketer to market. And there was no schooling, but my dad could read and write. He had written down my birthday, and as if he knew he was soon to die, appealed to my mom, please, don't remarry. Stay and look after these children and educate them. Education is very important, he said. And then he passed away.
So how many of you were there?
There were three of us. Myself and two boys, one 6 years younger than I, the other 9 years younger than I. And so Mama had to feed us, clothe us, and send us to school, but there was no school in the village. And the system then was to send us many miles across the hills to Fobor. I think the estimate is something like 18 or 20 miles. Right now, to get to Fobor, you have to go to Jos and then go through Zarazon and get to Fobor. It's called New Fobor now.
Well, in those days you walked?
We walked over the hills, on top of the hills, go down to other rocky areas
Every day.
in Jarawaland. No,
Yeah.
we went like twice a month. You take your goods, your garin dawa, your grains, and the dawa, the gishiri, and so you go
Yes.
and cook for yourself there. After 2 weeks, your parents bring you some. After 1 month, you yourself come back home
This is in
and
primary
carry
school.
more. Yes, primary school. We were just 7, 8, and 9 years of age to go there, and that was tough, I think, but it worked because where there is a mind, where there's a will, you do it.
Yeah.
So my mom had the mind. Of course, people were just watching her. Those who sent their children were also happy to team up with her, but those who didn't have children of that age were just hoping a school will open in Tilden Fulani when their own children are due to go to school, which is what happened when my brother, that is 6 years younger than I, by the time he was ready to go to school, a government primary school had opened in the village.
So you managed to go to Gindiri Girls High School, which is a
Right.
well-known school. Was that difficult also in terms of?
Yes, it wasn't well known. I was only in the second set, so it was just
Every
coming
school.
up. What happened was, after junior primary school in Fobor, I needed to go to senior primary school, which is classes 5, 6, and 7. There was one in Forum, but that was another long trip, and my mom didn't know what to do. She had nobody to send me with. So she turned to these missionaries near us in Ringingani and they said, oh yes, they have a new primary school being opened in Bununu Das.
In Das?
Yes, they could take me there. So, okay, good. So they told her how many shillings to bring every month so that they can feed me with it. And then they showed us the way, but often I had to go with lorry from Tilden Fulani to Bauchi, spend the night in Bauchi, take another lorry to Bununu Das, which was their market day, and that's the only day where there is transport. And they put me up with a family there who had children my age. So we went to school, and as I was doing very well at the end of senior primary school, they said that I took the exam and passed to go to Gindri. At the secondary school there, and I was to go to secondary school. When I got there, the first set I've started, and I was in the second set.
This was a scholarship, of course.
No, no scholarship. Individuals were paying. Individuals, anybody who just felt pity would help. And of course, my mom was doing most of it, but people were chipping in and helping. And that's how you see how this foundation of scholarship came up. Because people from nowhere who didn't know me, didn't know my mom, felt that there was a need. There's a child who's doing well. Her father has passed away. Let's give her a scholarship. Let's pay her school fees. Let's
So
buy
who
her
gave you the
books.
scholarship?
Most of them I don't even know.
Okay.
But it was happening. The first government scholarship I got was in 1966 when I was admitted into the College of Medicine in Lagos. That was my first experience of a scholarship.
Otherwise, it's all private funding or
All was help just here and there.
But because you did well in Gindiri, I think you went to Queen's College, which is a girls' school in Lagos, for your HSC, higher school certificate.
Yes. That's another one that surprises me. You know, when I was in Gindiri, I didn't know what I was going to study for quite a long time, until maybe from 3 or so. One of my classmates said, Kai, since you're doing so well in maths and science, why don't you study medicine? And it just clicked. I said, yes, I want to study medicine. My dad died, an unnecessary death. If he had gone to hospital, he would be alive today. Let me go and find out how people can. So I told the teacher who was teaching me maths and English, was a principal, an English lady, Shirley Palmer. And she was interested. She said, but you can't go and study medicine without taking biology, physics, and chemistry. So let me see what I can do, she said. So she went to the boys' school. They had a laboratory and they were teaching physics, chemistry. Biology was being taught in my girls' school as well. But she liaised with the principal there, all of them white people, and they agreed to let her see their timetable and fit me with my class, my appropriate class in the boys' school to do physics and chemistry. Because of that, I had to miss biology. I was not doing biology. I could do other things like the two Englishes, literature, English language, uh, geography, and so on. And then physics and chemistry at the boys' school. So she would wait until their timetable was out. Then she would fit me in, and then she would fit my class around all that. I considered it a good sacrifice. She did that, and I was able, by the grace of God, I did well in my physics and chemistry. And the boys too were happy. Later on in life, I found them saying, "Hey, Maryam Dija all the way from girls' school to come and be defeating us. How can she defeat us from we boys?" Anyway, when it was time to go for higher school certificate, I took exam again and they said I passed to go to Queen's College, Yaba. Then, to my surprise, one day, the principal, an English lady, Miss Gentle, came, and before I knew it, they were interviewing me. And then my teacher said, "But this girl doesn't have physics and chemistry, and she wants to study medicine. So she's coming to you for physics and chemistry. How can she do with zoology, which is the component of a higher school certificate?" So they thought among themselves, and Miss Gentle said, "Okay, let her borrow biology books and study now in November, December, and when she comes in January, she can join the zoo class with whatever knowledge she has got from biology." And that's how it happened. So when I got to Queen's College, I did the 3 subjects, physics, chemistry, zoology. I'm passed to go to College of Medicine. In fact, to go to any medical school, there were only 2 of them then, Ibadan and Lagos. Lagos was also brand new. The first set were just about to finish there in year 5, and we were coming in year 1. So that was, for me, that was another big miracle.
Yeah, but how challenging was it for you now to move from Jos to Lagos as a student?
Yes, of course, I moved to grounds where I didn't know was meeting.
Who supported you? Was there a scholarship, or it was still private?
My mom and some of her relatives were teaming up and paying for my movements here and there.
How were you going to Lagos from Jos?
From Jos, I traveled by train. The train system was very good that time. You know, the train would go from Jos through Kafanchan to Kaduna, from Kaduna to start going southwards through southwest down to Lagos. So that was the route.
And you went on your own?
Yes, I go on my own. People were very, very kind and very conscious of children and helping them. I'll tell you that I traveled by lorry from either Rinjingani or Tilden Fulani to Bauchi and Bununudas. There were no children, no young men there. There would be just an adult, 1 or 2 adult men, and maybe 1 woman or no woman at all. And people would be so kind, "Yarinya inazaki," and they will buy groundnuts and they will give me anything to eat. "Yarinya inazaki."
No threat at all. You didn't feel insecure.
No. You know, that time there was nothing to fear. Really, seriously. Because unless you are carrying money or you are very rich, people will look for you. There was no human sacrifices and looking for money like now. There were no dubious things going on with human parts or anything like that. The best anybody could do badly in those days was just to elope with a girl and say they are going to marry this one. That's all. So that didn't happen. They would always care. "Little girl, where are you going? Little girl, where are you going?" And they would help me. They would help me. That went on, and of course, I was not afraid. I enjoyed going up. Sometimes they would ask me a few questions about my family, and I would just say, "Oh, Baba Naba Idere, I've lost my dad, but my mom is struggling to educate me."
So after Gindiri, where you did well, you had a grade 1. There's no pressure on you to marry, stay, and maybe teach rather than fly off to Lagos again?
No, there was no pressure. Occasionally, when my mom wanted people to help, even among her own relatives, maybe she wanted a loan, that this girl is going to school, she needs money for this. They would say, why are you wasting time on this girl? Look at 2 boys coming after her. Save your energy to educate her. This one will just go and get married and stay in somebody else's kitchen. She won't even help you. You know, that kind of thing. And she will say, but the girl is crying that she wants to go to school and she's passing. Nobody says she has failed. So how can I just keep her? Then she will turn to another direction and they will help her. Then, of course, by the time I got to Gindri, I was more exposed to great help. There were some of my schoolmates who had come from well-to-do homes. You would know the Kitchener family in Zaria. Yes, so the children were my class. One was my senior, one was immediately my junior. We became very friendly. And this was a family that the children were not first generation, but second or maybe even third generation to go to school. So they looked at a few of us who came from villages with very poor background. I mean, poor means there was no cash, no ready cash. There was something to eat and survive, but no cash to pay school fees. So some of them helped us or got their relatives to support us.
So how was the experience going to Lagos? Certainly from this village background, you found yourself in Lagos.
Yes, again, Helen Kitchener was very close to me. She was my senior. She was our first head girl. She's in the first set, me in the second set. And she had relatives in Lagos. Mrs. Margaret Olu, she lived in Lagos. She immediately became my guardian by arrangement of my friend Helen. And then Steve Kitchener was also in the first set of College of Medicine. He graduated as a doctor when I was going to my second year. So he was there. And then there were some classmates of my husband who had gone from Government College Kefi to that College of Medicine to study. And of course, everybody was, they were all sensational. There is a northern girl coming to read medicine. Everybody was excited. So all the northern boys, men, let me call them now, in College of Medicine were all ready for me with their books, with their section sets, anything I needed.
There were no girls. There were no fellow girls.
Oh, they were fellow girls. There were 10 of us in the class, girls.
Yes.
All from Northwest, Middle Belt, and Southwest, Southeast, and Middle Belt.
Nobody from the North?
Nobody from the North, no. In fact, thanks to Dr. Sadiq Wali, the physician to all these presidents in the country. He was in that first set.
Okay, and just 1 year ahead of you?
No, 4 years.
Oh, 4 years ahead?
Yes, they were in the first set. I was in the 5th set.
Yes.
So immediately they all welcomed me. After about some months, Sadiq called me and said, Maryam, when you graduate, you will be the first northern girl to qualify as a medical doctor. I said, is that so? He said, yes, there is a girl in whether Romania or Bulgaria, one of these eastern countries, who is studying medicine, but she's a year behind you, and you are going to be the first.
Do you know her? Do you know her name?
Yes, I know her name. She's Dr. Balla. I haven't met her.
Fatima? Fatima Balla?
Yes, I haven't met her, but I've heard about her and I have read about her.
She's around.
She's in Kano or she's in Abuja even?
Possibly Abuja.
Possibly Abuja, yes.
Yes.
So it was Sadiq that kept me informed.
Yeah.
He also was ex-Kefi. So with all those connections to my husband's schoolmates, and then... So
did you meet your husband before you went to Lagos?
Yes.
Before you went for this medical
Yes. I met him when I was in the last few years of my secondary school. We met at conferences.
He was a young lawyer then, or still himself?
I first met him when he finished his HSC. And he came to the boys' school to teach. You know, the 9 years after
Gendry Boys
HSC. He came to Gendry Boys High School and taught. And then went to study law while I went to study medicine.
Yeah. So did you marry before you became a medical student?
No, certainly not.
Yeah.
I married during my own course because of his shorter course. He finished earlier and all that. So I got married when I had done 3 years in my medical college, remaining 2 years. I got married.
So is the experience in Queen's College then what determined you to stay in University of Lagos to do medicine?
Yes, because I reasoned that I have come to this southwest that I don't understand the language, though everybody speaks English. But for me to go now and start learning how to live in Ibadan, and I really didn't have many people there. It's Lagos that I knew. I knew the Kitcheners and I knew a few other people. And I already know the bus routes. Go here, go there, take this bus, take that bus, come down here. So I said, to avoid the stress, let me stay in University of Lagos. Because I got admission to both of those universities.
So after university, you spend quite a bit of time in Jos. I imagine now your movement has to tell you with your husband. Since he was also a lawyer then. So you started working in Jos, right? As a clinician.
Yes, when I graduated, I came to Jos to do my internship. I did the internship in Jos and also had my first child there before I started looking for specialization, which took me some time to do. And it was quite sticky trying to specialize when you are married to a lawyer who has nothing to do with your specialization. And I couldn't do the specialization in Jos. Jos was just a general hospital with some Indian and Egyptian doctors, specialists I could train in. There was no teaching hospital, nothing. So to get retrained or to proceed with postgraduate training, I would have to go elsewhere. I would have to either go back to the south or go outside the country.
And you went to England?
And I went to England I wanted to do the fellowship, but found that with a young family, I needed to be home with my children. I mean, I had the first and second child at that time. The younger one was just 11 months when I left home. And as if to really show Pepe, one day when I just called to greet them, how are they doing? How are the children? They said, oh, and then they had a scorpion sting last night. You can imagine a mother. I flew from here to there and say, what? Where was she going? How did the scorpion get at her? I went to my bed and I cried. I said, the next time they will say it's a snake that are eating this girl. From there, I started making my way to do the diploma and get back home.
Yeah. You continued in Ibadan, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, I came back to Ibadan and they took me for the diploma and I took the children along with me. I had a flat as a staff doing postgraduate studies. It was much easier and I could wind it up in 10 months. So so
was it a deliberate decision for you to work only in government hospitals, Plateau and then Benue?
Yes. At that time, there were no private hospitals that could take a specialist. You either set up your own hospital if you already qualified for it, or you stay with government. For example, for me to practice anesthesia, there has to be a surgeon. So there was a surgeon, an indigenous surgeon who also was not setting up his own. You need money to set up your own practice and so on, and they were teeming. There were thousands of people who needed the kind of treatment. And you can't go and set up a hospital and start charging what people can't afford. So we were all more or less destined to government service.
Most of it was in Benue. Is it because of your husband that you got to
Yes.
spend time there and rise in the profession?
When we got married, it was Benue Plateau State, and he came from Benue, and I was a Plateau person. And we got married when the states were created and we were moving. We each had to go where our husbands belonged. And I think at that time they even put us on contract. I think all married women were contract officers, that kind of thing. That was a challenge that later was reversed. There was always a joke that Benue people moved to their state with, what do they call us? What kind of property did they call us? We wives. We were now property to carry along.
So there are many of you who moved with
There
husbands.
were quite a few of us. Yes, it was delightful. And there were a few of theirs who stayed behind who had married Plateau person too.
Did you feel that impacted on your career? You couldn't really reach wherever you wanted to because of this constraint of state.
No, not in fact. In fact, not at all. Both states were at the same level. So if I had stayed home, wherever I could rise in Benue State, I could also have risen in Plateau. The only thing was that I couldn't take up government appointments, like political appointments of commissioner or something like that, because I was remotely positioned. I couldn't stay in Makurdi and do such a thing in Jos, and I couldn't leave my family because of a political appointment. I will go away and then come back when the appointment is over. It's a bit messy, so that was it. I stayed where I stayed, and in fairness, I was always given what was due to me in Benue State, even more than my husband would have, because there was a lot more discrimination against him than against me.
You became chief consultant of the General Hospital, and then of course the chief executive of the Health Management Board.
Yes.
I thought that's also political in a way.
No,
It's an administrative job.
it was professional. It was professional. First, I was the chief consultant in charge of the General Hospital, 300-bed hospital. That was a big, hectic job. And then I became chief medical director of the Health Services Management Board before I became the chief executive secretary. So, and those are regarded all as administrative. If I had been appointed a commissioner of health, then that would have been political.
So when you retired in 1991, was that not too early? Is it because you felt that was the bar? So professionally, you couldn't go beyond being health management board executive?
No, it wasn't the bar. I could have stayed on at the board for several years. There was nothing fighting me. I could have been appointed commissioner for health, and that would have been political, and then I could have sought my exit from there. The reason why I retired early was because my husband's name had been sent to Military Executive Council or whatever it was called to be appointed as Justice of the Court of Appeal, because he has marked many years in the state service, and some of his juniors have been moving above him. Now it was time for him to move, and so I was just preparing ground to move with him, because he had made it very clear that his family, he never plans to have his family split. Wherever he moved, his family would move with him. So that was preparatory.
So from 91, you are consultant in many hospitals, but you had to move along with him. And in Plateau and all those places.
Yes, the movement, but not much of Plateau. Movement was first of all to Edo State,
Yes.
and then to Kaduna, or Kaduna to Port Harcourt, Port Harcourt to Lagos, Lagos to Abuja, that kind of thing. Lagos to Enugu, Enugu to Abuja.
So I noticed your career from then on, it's more like your energy went into voluntary activities, charity
Yes.
work and all.
Yes, I was taking up part-times, which I humorously called, I was doing kabu doctor work, taking up with people who were settled, they had their own clinics going, and I could take up a job with them as a general person or as an anesthetist, whichever one they needed. But when eventually I found that the people who owned those places were either my age mates or younger, then it wasn't too comfortable for me, continuing to be a part-time physician with people who feel they could not relate to me as their mate. They had to just respectfully tolerate me, as it were, and the market, of course, was getting choked. There were many more doctors looking for those jobs, so I scaled down on that.
Yes, we will take a break at this point in our conversation with Dr. Ogebe. Please join us in the second segment of this program, where we'll discuss life for her after retirement in particular. Thank you. Welcome back to the second part of our conversation with Dr. Maryam Ogebe, who by all accounts is the first female medical doctor in northern Nigeria, here in this region. Now, we left when she had more or less retired from public service as the Chief Executive Secretary of the Benue Health Management Board. So, Doctor, you said you then started some kabu, as you called it, here and there. Was that rewarding? Was there something that you felt because of your training you have to offer to society?
Yes, it was rewarding in a way that since I qualified, I had been working for government.
Yes.
But this time, I started working with the private sector, and it was very interesting and a new place of learning to be able to attend to patients from an angle where they will be heavily charged, an angle where they can insist on knowing why they are being treated this way and why they are receiving the injection, how they are inspected. So it became, I entered into a kind of marketplace of medicine, whereas before it had been, you do, the government checks you, and your patients have hardly any feedback. Their own is just to submit to the government hospital, government clinic, you treat them, they go away. If they have complaints, they will write to the high quarters and complain, kind of. But in the private, it wasn't like that. In fact, my first private place was in Benin City, where after about 3 years there, not just hospital practice, but experience with the world, I discovered that if you live in that city, you have to come out with a certificate that you award yourself for having learned a lot.
You award it to yourself.
Yes, you award to yourself that you've learned a lot about life, and you've learned a lot about your profession from the non-government.
What particular struck you? Because you live in Lagos, so you live also abroad. Why was Benin so special for you?
Yes, Benin was special because what we know as Bendel in those days, which is now Delta and Edo, the Bendel people are very special people. And we Northerners, we were known as docile people, people who were mild, you could treat them anywhere, or they are so sympathetic, they can help you to any extent, you know. And then you get to a place of people who are very wise. And when I got to the hospital, for example, they pulled me aside and they said, "Doctor, we know where you are coming from. We are nurses and we know your background. Please, as you have come to this city, we urge you, don't trust anybody, not even us." And I was, what? How can I not trust anybody? How can I live here without? I have to trust. They said, no, we're saying it for your own sake. You know, here we live here differently from you people in the north. And there were Northerners among them who had married down there, and we were advising each other. And it was good and kind of them to say so. But because they told me, they said, look, if anybody comes here smiling and you know, even if you know the person casually and say, look after my bag, I'm coming, don't agree, because they could have had drugs there and they will set you up and you can't get out of it and you've had it. So why won't I issue myself one small certificate for that?
So that street smartness.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So on and on like that, and you attend to their children. The child, you have to give the child an injection. Maybe you take blood or give injection. The parents hold the child is crying, and then the mother says, "Tell doctor thank you." Thank you, doctor. I haven't seen that in the north until I got to the south. That is wisdom, letting the child know that it was for good, that they're treating her like this, and teaching the child to say thank you even when things are not going well. Anyway, I enjoyed, and even apart from Edo, I did medical kabu in Kaduna also. That's the NNPC clinic there, and some other private surgeons also took me for anesthetic cases around the town. There were not many, there were a few, but I enjoyed them to see that the future of medicine in Nigeria should really not be government. It should be private. Even if government is going to subsidize, when it is private, it is done more efficiently and more cheaply, in the sense that government can subsidize in the training of people in specialties and then supervise that they render the service in private hospitals with a controlled price system also. Then people will benefit from it. So I learned from that too.
You never felt tempted yourself to start a private hospital?
I couldn't because of the family. If I was going to move around, we look at a number of the justices in the Court of Appeal. They were moving quite often. The longest for a stay was 3.5 years as a physician. How long will it take me to set up a hospital? And then when the husband is moving, says he must move with the wife, what do I do with the hospital? It's not something you can just easily sell over to someone.
Yes.
It's a very expensive service to set up.
Do you think in general there is a problem with anesthesia in this part of our country, where, as you say, policy is poor? And it's not just that case I mentioned. Lots of cases where people go to hospital, and maybe because of carelessness, I don't know, there's an overdose. And somebody was going for a small operation, doesn't end up getting off from the hospital bed.
I have been out of anesthesia for 20 years now. So I am not an authority anymore. But some fields are open to overdose and carelessness more than others. For example, my husband had to have surgery for his prostate to be removed 3 or 4 years ago, and it was in a private hospital, and I was there beginning to end. In fact, the surgeon was a junior of mine when I was heading Makurdi General Hospital. He came did his internship and was posted out, and eventually we got him training abroad in UK, which he went and did. He specialized in surgery, came back to Nigeria. In UCH, he joined a reputable urologist, where he trained, and in fact he's a very good hand. So we went to a private hospital because we could afford it, and this person gave us his bill, the hospital gave us his bill, and he had the surgery successfully. Then back in the ward, suddenly he was losing a lot of blood. Losing blood? What happened? We looked for more blood, gave him. He continued losing blood. What's happening? Then the next time, the next bottle of blood was ready to set up. The junior doctor who was on duty, not very junior, but at least he's not the surgeon, tried to set up the blood and couldn't. Anywhere he punctured, the vein would bleed, and he wouldn't be able to advance the blood. And he said, how is this? He said that the blood is not clotting. It now clicked in my head. The blood is not clotting. Okay, let's get vitamin K. Emergency, let's give him. We gave vitamin K, and within 30 minutes, he was able to set the drip. The clotting stopped. We now started looking for what the cause was. The cause was that he had been on antihypertensive treatment, and along with that, you have to take mini aspirin to keep the blood thinning so that blood clots are not formed, so he doesn't have a stroke or anything. And that mini aspirin was not discontinued. It's supposed to be discontinued 2 weeks before surgery, or at least 1 week if you can't afford the 2 weeks. And his surgery was an emergency, so we could have stopped it. It escaped the doctors. It escaped my own mind. I should have known, even if they missed it, because I was the one in charge of his drugs. And of course, he could easily have bled to death, or get a complication from having blood transfusion, so mistakes can happen, and they do happen, I'm sorry, almost on a daily basis. But many of them we're able to counteract if you are quite awake and you are looking at what is happening.
After medicine, you, I think, went into a lot of Christian voluntary work and all that. Long list, but I want you to say something about it. What is the motivation, and are you still at it? Are you still keeping it? I see you are still on the board of some scholarship foundation and stuff like that.
Yes, I went partly into conservative medicine or conservative healthcare, and then also into Christian work. The conservative healthcare I went into was when I discovered that there is a lot about nutrition and other things like exercise, rest, anti-stress, and so on, which we don't learn in medical school at all. I mean, there is so much to study and learn in medical school that they consider it a waste of time to bring in nutrition and diet. It's just...
So this is lifestyle medicine?
Yes. So it's just said, we just brush it aside as something you can read about later. And so in retirement, I found, why not? I can read, I can understand, I can check diaries and dictionaries, I can even go on Google, on internet, and find these things. But I found companies that were giving lectures and also selling supplements that match with people's particular needs, with those with stress, or those with more stress than others, those with age problems, or those with restricted diets. Some people restrict themselves from a diet. They don't like this, and so they never eat vegetables. They just don't like it. Even if you put it in a goosey soup or okra soup, you have to disguise it before they will eat. So there are lots and lots of recommendations for such people. So I decided to go into it and spread the message by giving voluntary lectures. Thanks to some good heads of justice. They were inviting me to also give them lectures to the justices, who received it very well. And eventually, one doctor from Kaduna, Dr. Kujo, also came in with anti-stress management on exercise and so on. So there was a time we formed a team, and we did that, and it was very rewarding for justices whose work involved just sitting down from morning till night. And they had to learn how to stand up, get their own files, stand up. They were told that, look, the only thing you do if we leave you alone, the only place they can't go for you is your toilet. Everything else, messenger must do for you, PA must do for you, and so on. Said you are killing yourself.
So you had a captive audience with the justices.
Oh yes, you are killing yourself. You have to be able to stand up, walk around, and do this and do that. So it helped, and it really helped me. Then there was the issue of which I had learned among all my journeys and trainings with the board, with the hospital board, the Benue State Health Board. I had been to Johns Hopkins with a team on health drawn from all the states of the nation, with one Professor Ladipo from Ibadan, to talk on family health. And there we really studied the issue of big families, unplanned families with children that are not catered for by people who had brought them into the world. At that time, the government wanted to develop a policy of a number of births per woman, and they took 4 births per woman as the norm. So during all that discussion, many of us grappled with a lot of things. For example, some of us were numbers 8, number 9, I myself was a number 7, and it was all like joke. How do you talk about limiting births? You wouldn't have been born if they said your mother shouldn't have more than 4. Yes. Where would you be today? That kind of thing. So we said, well, jokes aside, it is voluntary. They will make the policy, nobody will force it, but people will know that this is. So with that, I also got audiences that were interested in hearing why that limitation and how such limitations can be. So I gave lectures on family health structuring. Then there is a body that cares for leprosy affected people, and they no longer want us to call them lepers. They say leprosy affected people. There was there were 2 NGOs that look after those unfortunate people. And so I was invited into the board of one of them, which I took off well. I did 2 times there. And I also did 2 times on the international body of that particular NGO, which is based in the UK. And they held meetings every year in different countries, going around. Since I love traveling, I really enjoyed being on that sea for 9 good years. There's a country I even went to twice, Sweden. And I've been to Switzerland, I've been to Nepal, been to Thailand, India. Can you imagine? To hold meetings that I was comfortable with, and also to learn a lot, even from things like leprosy, how that it is still there and there are still new cases. Every year there are new cases coming up, and to learn that the spread of it is not easy to find out how it spreads. Somehow 95% of persons are immune to it, but you don't know how to find the 95 or how to find the 5 that are not immune. So it is difficult, and because of that.
And the person who is not immune can easily catch it.
Yes, it means you can catch it, and then you catch it slowly. You don't even get immediately and seek for help. You catch it slowly, and it's very slowly that they will look for a patch.
Is it curable these days?
It is curable.
Curable.
Yes, it is curable.
What was the scholarship foundation? Is it Hope Foundation you call it?
Yes, so I when I came out and did all this, I looked at my life and saw that people helped me. I looked at UNICEF, and UNICEF said, if a girl child in particular, is trained up to primary school level, her prospects of bringing up a family that will survive well are greatly increased, exponentially increased compared to if she didn't go to school at all. And I said, wait, people helped me even when they didn't know me. I'm going to look for children that don't know me, whose parents probably are not alive, and they are not going to school, but somebody is kind enough to house them, to feed them. But I will find schools for them. I talked to my husband. He too comes from a background very similar to my own.
Who?
My husband.
Okay.
He's very similar. And so we agreed we will set up a foundation and support children from primary and secondary education. Only we'll start with that. So we started with that when I turned 75. We launched it in 2019. Launched it, we registered it in CAC, and quite honestly, it's wonderful. So many people are receiving help, and come and see many widows. They are so grateful. One woman, I was helping her incognito. I went through the school proprietor and said, do you have children that are not able to pay their school fees? Oh, we have many. I said, just give me 2. This woman looked for telephone. She called me. She said, Madam, I've never heard anybody say they are going to help with the education of a girl child, and you came and took my daughter to pay her school fees. I'm so grateful. And so it goes on. We don't take only girls, of course, we still take boys. But it's amazing. It's amazing how many talents are just there.
Well, how much can you do? How much are you able to do?
That's what used to dampen my spirit when I was younger. I'll say, look at the problems. There are so many.
Yeah.
What can I do? It's like I can't do anything really. But with maturity, I know that I can do the little bit I'm doing. And my doing it may inspire somebody else to do. If they had refused to help me because there were many children who needed help, I wouldn't have got it. But they have. And quite honestly, right now, we don't have more than 100 on our platform. But they are happy. And we are happy. In fact, gives me a very good reason to live on and to look after the little I have and to detest unnecessary expenditure on myself or my own house or my own anything. Why? When people are there suffering.
Your biographer, David Ajiji,
that's right,
said you are an unsung heroine who has not been recognized. You have no street name after you. You have, do you feel kind of underappreciated by society?
Not at all. In fact, when people complain and they try to push me, I say, don't worry, it doesn't matter, it doesn't add anything or subtract anything from me. And in fact, this one you are celebrating now, this first female, I was very silent about it. It didn't bother me, but they kept bringing it up, and now I say, okay, thank you, I will accept it. Because to me, it doesn't add, it doesn't subtract. I think all in all, my responsibility to my maker is to listen to my heart and do what he has placed in my heart to do, unselfishly and as efficiently as I can. And what is the efficiency? Being able to ask other people, to recruit people who will be able to support such a cause, knowing that I will not eat out of it, I have enough food for myself. I will not build a house out of it, I have a house already. I am just doing this for people who have nothing, nowhere to cry to. And to me, that's a better recognition than to be putting my name up and down and giving me all sorts of awards that I will just pin on the wall, and I did really earn nothing.
So how is life in retirement? You are retired. Your husband is retired. Uh, how do you live through the day?
Yes, we've got a good regime where we've listened to a lot of advice about not to retire and get tired. That if you retire and sit still, you will get more and more tired and you will just phase out. There's a lot of advice about how you need to move, and we're keeping that, how you need to listen to your body and eat the right things. And the things that you really like that they say you shouldn't eat at this age, you just eat a little bit of it and be satisfied. Don't deprive yourself completely, but at least don't overindulge. And do it good for other people. We found that it's very, very rewarding for a retired person. You have to do good for other people. And we therefore exercise every day. In fresh air, we go for a walk. We have these indoor exercising things too, but we prefer to go out. My husband is an extrovert, so for him there's no problem. I'm more of an introvert, and I didn't like going out on the street. I felt conscious. People are watching me through their windows and wondering what is this old woman walking about. But because of his nature, I had to bury my own, and we're enjoying it.
So how are the children, including the one bitten by the scorpion? How are they doing?
The children are doing well. The one bitten by the scorpion, she was in university when she was 21, about going to 22, when she was involved in a car crash and passed away. Yes. So we have the 3 remaining. The 2 boys are lawyers, married to lawyers. The girl is a medical doctor, married to an engineer. The children are settled. They are doing well, and thank God they don't have to look after us too much. We are on pension, and the pension is looking after us.
And do you still have the chance to do what you love doing, traveling now?
Oh yes, yes. We still travel. I love traveling. In fact, for my 80th birthday, 2 years ago, the family wanted to throw a party and invite everybody and celebrate me. And so I said, you know what? I've been wanting to go to Australia. Give me a ticket to go to Australia and come back. And they said, oh, you got it. So they arranged a ticket, and both of us traveled to Australia for 6 weeks. I think we were in Australia. And we enjoyed it thoroughly.
And your other hobbies? You said you like, I believe, reading. Is it also?
Reading, yes, I read, and then gardening.
Gardening, yes.
Yes, so I have a lot to do with horticulture, and I keep a lot of exotic plants. I like plants a lot, and I take care of them. Reading, yes, I read a lot. But nowadays, almost all reading is on the phone, just on your palm. You can read everybody and everywhere. But I say read books.
Thank you very much, Dr. Maryam Dija Ogebe, for really letting us into your very rich life. And thank you, viewers, for joining us in this episode of Reminiscences. With, let me say it again, the first female medical doctor in the North. She doesn't like saying it herself. Thank you for staying with us, and I hope we meet you in another episode where we talk to another very interesting person. Until we meet again,